Tecumseh, the greatest Native American military leader, a modern comparison. Native American history has given us legendary military leaders, but none stands taller than Tecumseh of the Shawnee. Today we'll explore what made him exceptional, compare his leadership to modern General David Petraeus, and imagine how Tecumseh might fare in today's military landscape. Tecumseh emerged during one of the most turbulent periods in American history. As European settlers pushed westward in the early 19th century, native tribes faced an existential threat. While many leaders fought bravely, Tecumseh's vision transcended mere resistance. He sought to fundamentally reshape the relationship between native peoples and the expanding United States. What made Tecumseh remarkable was his extraordinary ability to unite tribes that had often been historical enemies. Before him, resistance to American expansion was fragmented, with individual tribes fighting isolated battles. Tecumseh recognized this fatal flaw and embarked on an unprecedented diplomatic mission to forge a pan-Indian confederacy stretching from the Great Lakes to the Gulf of Mexico. His battlefield prowess matched his diplomatic skill. At the Battle of Fallen Timbers in 1794, though the Native alliance ultimately lost, Tecumseh distinguished himself through tactical brilliance, leading a rearguard action that allowed many warriors to escape when defeat became inevitable. He refused to accept the subsequent Treaty of Greenville, which ceded large portions of native territory. During the War of 1812, Tecumseh allied with British forces against the Americans. His most stunning victory came at the Siege of Detroit in 1812, where he used psychological warfare to devastating effect. Knowing American General William Hull feared native warriors, Tecumseh paraded his forces repeatedly through clearings visible to the fort, creating the illusion of far greater numbers. This brilliant deception, combined with British artillery, led Hull to surrender Detroit without a fight, despite commanding a superior force. Tecumseh's leadership extended beyond clever tactics. He instituted strict discipline among his warriors, forbidding the torture of prisoners and the killing of non-combatants. Revolutionary concepts in warfare between natives and settlers at that time. This moral leadership earned him respect even from his enemies, with American officers noting his honorable conduct compared to other leaders on both sides. Now let's pivot 2 centuries forward to General David Petraeus, who commanded U.S. forces in Iraq and Afghanistan. While separated by time and circumstance, these leaders share remarkable similarities. Both men rose to prominence during existential conflicts that threatened their people's way of life. For Tecumseh, it was American westward expansion. For Petraeus, the post-9/11 counterinsurgency wars that challenged America's security doctrine. Like Tecumseh, Petraeus was a coalition builder who understood that military victory alone wasn't enough. In Iraq, Petraeus orchestrated the Awakening movement, convincing Sunni tribal leaders who had been fighting against American forces to instead join a coalition against al-Qaeda. This echoes Tecumseh's efforts to unite historically hostile tribes against a common threat. Both leaders emphasized understanding cultural contexts. Tecumseh navigated the complex spiritual and political structures of diverse tribes, while Petraeus implemented a counterinsurgency strategy that prioritized cultural awareness and population-centric security. In battle, both demonstrated adaptability. Tecumseh masterfully blended native fighting techniques with more conventional tactics learned from his British allies. Similarly, Petraeus adapted conventional military doctrine to asymmetric warfare, developing the counterinsurgency field manual that transformed how the U.S. approached modern conflicts. Both leaders also shared personal characteristics that enhanced their effectiveness. They were charismatic orators who could inspire through words alone. Tecumseh's speeches to tribal councils are legendary for their persuasive power, while Petraeus was known for his ability to communicate complex strategies clearly to diverse audiences, from frontline soldiers to Washington policymakers. Interestingly, both men valued education and intellectual development. Tecumseh, unlike many of his contemporaries, learned English and studied American military tactics to better understand his adversary. Petraeus holds a PhD from Princeton and emphasized intellectual preparation for officers under his command. So how would Tecumseh fare as a modern military leader? The evidence suggests he would excel, particularly in today's complex operational environments. Tecumseh's ability to build coalitions across cultural divides would be invaluable in modern, multinational operations. Today's conflicts rarely involve single nations fighting alone. They require building and maintaining complex alliances. Tecumseh demonstrated this skill centuries before terms like coalition warfare entered military vocabulary. His innovative adaptation to technological disadvantages would translate well to asymmetric conflicts. Facing American forces with superior weapons, Tecumseh developed compensating tactics that maximized his forces' mobility and knowledge of terrain. This adaptive mindset is precisely what modern military leaders need when facing unconventional threats. Tecumseh's emphasis on ethical warfare would align with modern military values. His prohibition of torture and protection of non-combatants, revolutionary in his time, anticipated the development of international humanitarian law. Today's military leaders must navigate complex ethical terrain while maintaining moral authority, something Tecumseh mastered 2 centuries ago. His strategic vision, seeing beyond immediate battles to broader political outcomes, mirrors the comprehensive approach required in modern conflicts. Tecumseh understood that military actions were ultimately tools to achieve political ends, a concept that remains central to effective military leadership today. If there's one area where Tecumseh might struggle in today's military environment, it would be adapting to rigid bureaucratic structures. His leadership emerged from merit and charisma rather than formal rank, allowing him flexibility that might be constrained in modern hierarchical organizations. However, his proven adaptability suggests he would likely overcome even this challenge. The legacies of both Tecumseh and Petraeus remind us that truly exceptional military leadership transcends time and technology. It requires vision, adaptability, ethical grounding, and the ability to unite diverse groups toward common purposes. Tecumseh's brilliance deserves greater recognition in military history. While defeated in his ultimate goal of establishing an independent Native Confederation, his leadership qualities and strategic innovations place him among history's greatest military minds. A Native American leader whose methods and wisdom resonate powerfully even in today's complex security landscape.